That brings us to item 9 on our superintendent's report, so I will turn it over to Dr. Ross.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the school board and our community, our executive staff. We're so excited to start another school year here in School District 5, and it is really a great honor to recognize our students who recognize not only just our town, our state, and our community in regional, national games. And also to our finance department, we thank you and congratulations. We appreciate all the hard work. I do want to take a special privilege to announce with the sun coming in, you may see a little gleam coming from the exec table. Our CFO was recently engaged, and so that little diamond. You see that ESSA report with a lot of hand motions. As always, in our district, we are guided by 3 questions. Why are we here? How do we accomplish our why? And then what are the outcomes of our vision, of our why question? Our vision is governed by the notion that we love and grow our students. Our mission is focused on academic, social, emotional growth and development. And our what are we creating, is outlined by our strategic plan. Our strategic plan has 4 performance goal areas. 2 of them help us to ensure that all students feel loved in our schools. And 2 of them are devoted to the notion of that we have demonstrated academic growth in our schools. We know that every mission has challenges. Every mission has challenges, and each of these challenges gives us an opportunity. And so if we look at our challenges, we see a growth in mental health issues in our community. The top 3 being the anxiety, the depression, and trauma. We see that some of our students are not coming in at grade level proficiency in English and math. And we also see that there is growth in student enrollment in our Chapin schools, but yet growing facility needs in our IRMO, and to include Dutch Fork schools. But every challenge presents an opportunity. And these opportunities that we can address mental health services by coming up with a district-wide social emotional learning program that helps us deal with understanding these emotions that students are brought in. We heard from a national expert last year that emotional issues that don't go addressed, that are not addressed, can lead to the safety issues that we see in our schools. We know that by connecting our students to a trusted adult can help them maximize their potential. And we know that we need to push some of our honor students in our world-class programs. And last, we are embarking on a 5-year master facilities plan to provide equity and access for all students in our district. This year, we were excited. If you were at the kickoff, we had someone said it was a pep rally of emotions of everyone coming back. We're really excited. And we launched the growing season. That's our theme for this year. Why the growing season? Well, all schools are measured on academic achievement. And you see our measures of academic progress. Right now, our scores are embargoed from last year. But once they are released from embargo, we'll talk about the academic achievement of our schools in last year. But we categorized our students, elementary and middle school, in this academic progress report on blue for exceeds, green for meeting expectations, yellow for approaching expectations, and the red for those who do not meet. And so you can see the fall, winter, spring from last year versus this year for elementary and middle school. You see that for math, and we also see it for reading. But what I want to focus on is the growth. There's a lot to be told in those students who come in and they're behind level. They may be 2 grade levels behind, but they really work hard, and they may not reach to the green level or the blue level, but they have shown amazing growth. We have set in our strategic plan at 53 and 55 to be our median conditional growth percentiles, and to see the work that our students and our teachers have been able to produce last year with median conditional growth percentiles at 60 and 71 1,266, way above our district strategic plan goals. It is the growing season in School District 5, and it's good to recognize that students are getting amazing growth opportunities, and we look forward to continuing that throughout our district, especially in our secondary level. I want to highlight for the board that people are recognizing the growth in School District 5, and we just had, and you've heard from Ms. McCaskill and her team, a lot of the work on Dreambox. Well, Dreambox has actually featured one of our schools in their national articles. The title was Harbison West Elementary Sees Significant Growth in Math Proficiency with Dreambox. So people are recognizing it's the growing season in School District 5. They're recognizing the importance of growth and to see Harbison West become a national, to be nationally recognized for that growth. Sarah Fisher, assistant principal at Harbison West Elementary, said, "Our teachers have seen a direct correlation between the use of Dreambox and achievement in both class and on the NWEA and MAP growth assessment." So we are very proud of the work we're doing. We're looking to continue this, but we want to celebrate the growth that we're seeing in School District 5. So with that, at this time, we're going to move into our ESSER quarterly update, and I'm going to ask Ms. Madison Paul, who I've embarrassed earlier, to come forth and bring us our ESSER update.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss the ESSER quarterly report through June 30th, 2023. Starting with ESSER 1, as y'all all know from my reports previously, this was spent, the deadline for final spending was September 30th, 2022. Again, the majority of the $1.6 million was spent on continuing operations, mostly with between bus drivers, custodial staff, and student nutrition to make sure that they were still being paid during those months that we were shut down because of COVID. Moving on to ESSER 2, which the deadline for spending is actually coming up September 30th, 2023. So I want to spend some time focusing on ESSER 2. So the district was allocated roughly $6.7 million from ESSER 2 funds through June 30th. So that was the end of our 2023 fiscal year. The district had spent $6.1 million. I do want to make a note that when we present this report, since it is at year end, we do not show any encumbrances for the new year. So even though we do have plans in the current fiscal year, that is not shown on this report since it is a year-end report. A couple things to mention. So as of right now, or I'm sorry, as of June 30th, there are about $550,000 remaining to be spent by September 30th deadline. The biggest piece of this is in that sanitation services and supplies line. You'll notice that we have a budget of $428,000, and we still have those funds remaining. At this time, we do have just an invitation for bids out that is due back by the end of this week, so August 25th, to actually buy floor scrubbers for all of our schools. And the estimate on that is that full $428,000. So we do expect, as part of that solicitation process, we put in there that the winning bid would have to get these janitorial equipment to the district by September 30th deadline. So that is in the scope of work. And we do expect to have those, all of those bids in by Friday and be able to go ahead and put the purchase order and all that in next week to get those in by the September 30th deadline. Additionally, you'll notice that we have about $101,000 left in the provision for mental health services and support. This is mostly, again, this is a June 30th report, so the remaining 3 months in ESSER 2, we're planning to spend that allocation on 4K screeners, some security equipment, homebound pay starting with the new school year, but again, we do plan to spend all of this by September 30th. And then the remaining $16,000 in addressing learning loss among students. We did allocate over the summer that each teacher received 2 summer planning days, and those were actually funded through ESSER, so a significant portion of those were spent by June 30th. We did have some teachers that were either on new contract or just chose to split the time between June and July. So we do expect the $16,000 to be spent on the July summer planning that we did allocate for teachers. So again, that $546,000 we do expect to be spent by the September 30th deadline. sorry, this thing is a little complicated. Okay, so moving on to ESSER 3. So ESSER 3, of course, is our biggest tranche that we did receive from the COVID funds. We received 15 million, or we allocated 15 million. Through June 30th, we spent roughly 8.1 million of the 15 million. Again, similar to the ESSER 2 report, this does not include any encumbrances into the new fiscal year, since this is a year-end report for fiscal year 23. The three biggest areas that you'll notice are certainly addressing learning loss, which we did have a requirement with ESSER 3 that we had to allocate at least 20% of funding. So 20% of that 15 million had to go towards addressing learning loss. So you will see that we still have about 2.1 million remaining as of June 30th. We also have a 1.9 million related to mental health services, and then another 1 million related to improving indoor air quality. So the plan for each of those, with the learning loss, certainly we had a lot of summer planning in the months of July this year. We also had summer reading camp and academic enrichment. All of that took place in July, so you will not see that allocation in this schedule. We also are looking forward to the new school year and planning for some tutoring. And then of course, planning, as we look into the next summer, we will have funding available for those same programs next summer. Moving on to the provision of mental health services. This is of course where we fund our non-clinical counselors. So you will see that certainly will take up a significant portion of that remaining amount. And we also, with approval from y'all, we are looking at the SEL program that could potentially be funded through ESSER as well. And moving on to the improving indoor air quality, we do have a few large HVAC projects that are coming down in FY24. But overall, we are on track to spend the remaining 6.7 by September 30th of 2024. And I'll be glad to take any questions.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Huddle?
Is it too late if you wanted to move money around? And if not, what's a deadline for doing that?
No, so we can always submit a spending a plan amendment. There is a blackout period. We actually just left the blackout period. It was from June 30th to August 15th. So at this time we can request a spending plan amendment. With ESSER 2, again, with it needing to be spent by September 30th of this year, we are a little bit conscientious of not trying to do a spending plan amendment with ESSER 2, but ESSER 3, we still have a full another year to do any spending plan amendments that we need to do by June 30th.
Do we have any other questions? I had a question real quick just about the timing of when you could spend money under ESSER 2 or ESSER 3. And it really relates to if you are trying to secure funding for a program or something that is not going to be substantially completed by the deadline of that funding source. So either ESSER 2, if you say you're going to do a program that is not going to start until after September 30th, but you're going to spend the money before September 30th for a specific program, is that allowable, or does the program have to be, and I'm using the word program loosely, like the service or whatever, does it have to be substantially performed by the September 30th, 23 deadline for ESSER 2 or September 30th, 24 deadline for ESSER 3? Does that make sense?
Yes, I would say in general the answer is yes, it does need to be substantially complete and not necessarily it doesn't have to be paid by that date, but we don't pay anything that when the services aren't rendered. We don't prepay or anything like that. We try not to. Sometimes with subscriptions you have to. But in general, I would say yes, it needs to be spent by the deadline. Some of the kind of caveats to that, the example that they gave us were an HVAC unit. So with an HVAC unit, you have a contract with a company to install a new HVAC unit. If it is substantially complete by September 30th and you're just waiting on a part to come in, it still has to come in by 12/31/2023 if it's ESSER 2. So the part has to come in, has to be invoiced and paid by December 31st. So there's a few caveats in there, but if it's anything like salaries, if it's a service, usually a service would have to be by 9/30 of each year, depending on ESSER 1 or ESSER 2 or ESSER 3. So really the only caveats to that are if you do have a contract for something like an HVAC unit, it's substantially complete, but you need one more part. If it comes in by 12/31, it's invoiced and paid by 12/31, you can still accrue it back to ESSER 2.
Okay. Ms. Huddle?
What's the majority of the addressing learning loss going to be used for?
In ESSER 3,
Yes.
so we do have, I would say the majority of it is allocated. We have certainly the academic programs over the summer, so that July month is not included in here. That was a significant impact. Tutoring, last year we spent, I think it was about 80,000 on tutoring. We are thinking about upping that. Can you jog my memory of anything else, Tina?
So we still have next summer some programs in the summer as well, but we are looking to include tutoring at the elementary level as well. We did not have that in the past, so we are looking at including tutoring for really kindergarten through 12th grade for this year.
And I have one more question to piggyback off of that answer. So with tutoring services, is that an after-school tutoring service that comes in to tutor students, or does that tutoring service happen during the course of the regular school day? I know that might not be.
So the tutoring would be after school. It'd be after school hours. We're looking at, in the elementary schools, it will be like from 3 to 4. Middle and high schools would be 4 to 5, that type of thing.
And does the tutoring service, is that, can any student at any school utilize those services, or is that geared toward specific schools or specific students to qualify for the tutoring?
The schools will be identifying certain students. If a parent wants to talk to the school to see if their child would qualify for that and there are spaces for it, then certainly that's something that a parent could ask about. But we are going to target those students who seem to need it most.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Ms. Barnhart?
Same question kind of as Ms. Huddle, but for the provision of mental health services and support, could you kind of break that down? Yes, so, you know, as of June 30th, we had about 1.9 million remaining. About $1 million of that will be eaten up from the clinical counselors, just their salary and benefits for the entire fiscal year 24, and then also 3 months into 25. So we really have 15 months that will pay for the mental health supports. We also have, you know, again, we do have kind of a earmarker, again, if approved, that we could potentially do an SEL program that would take a significant chunk of that money as well. I know there's some security things that our security team is looking at, from equipment, cameras, things like that, that would also go into that provision of mental health services.
Any more questions? All right, Ms. Ball, congratulations. Thank you.
And at this time, to conclude the superintendent's report, I'll bring up Ms. Amanda Taylor to do our back-to-school highlights.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Ross again. We are off and running this school year. We are having a great one so far. We had a wonderful kickoff event with all of our staff right before school started. We were so glad that so many of you were able to be there with us. As Dr. Ross told us during the kickoff, our theme for this year is the growing season. So we are going to spend this year highlighting all the different ways that our students grow. And in addition, we will still be sharing our D5 story along the way as well. So with that, I want to show you just a very brief, I think I get to do it, video about the
We're excited about not only the first day, but keeping this energy from the first day all the way to the last day. We're pumped up and energized around a single vision of loving and growing our children. And it's exciting that today we welcome back 17,500 students to that vision of loving every child and growing every child.
It is the growing season, and we are ready to grow our students. Our teachers today are already preparing to know their students. They've been very intentional to set up activities within their classrooms so that they can build expectations together, so that they can build classroom values, and we're looking forward to building that positive culture and safe environment here at River Springs. It's going to be phenomenal, and these students are going to grow from day one all the way to day 180. Looking forward to seeing the results.
This year, we are looking forward to our students continuing to learn and grow and reach their full potential. We've got an amazing staff here, equipped and ready to help them grow, and we can't wait to see all the amazing things they're going to do this school year.
I am super excited. The babies are coming back in. We finally got them back in the building from a long summer of planning. The faculty is excited. The kids are excited. I'm excited, and it's going to be a great year. This is the season of growing.
Well, those summer months when they're away, it's, we get into a different routine with our family. And then when we come back, we join again with our school family. And it's the reunion of seeing friends and teachers. That excitement lets us know it's not just a building, but it's filled with people of love. It's filled with people who have strong relationships, and it's filled with more than just teaching and learning, but the ability to have that school spirit that inspires growth. In schools, we're very excited about achievement, and we want every student to reach the highest heights. But we're celebrating this year the growth of every child. Every child can grow. And with our theme, the growing season, we're going to really be pushing that hashtag, Let's Grow, celebrating the growth of every child and every teacher that has inspired that growth in our children. And Madam Chair, that concludes the superintendent's report.
All right, do we have any questions for Dr. Ross from his report before we move on? All right. That video did not seem as chaotic as my first day of school, so props to those teachers.